Today is Friday, March 4th. Once saved, always saved. Now, I'm not trying to provoke an argument because I know this is a hot topic. It's also one of the reasons why I disable comments on the YouTube channel so that people don't argue. I want to use a lot of scripture, but first I want to mention that when I feel confident in my salvation. I don't feel as if I'm walking on eggshells around God every time I miss the mark, sin, that I'm going to hell. So with that said, John 15 verses 4 through 6, abide in me and I in you. As the branch cannot bear fruit of itself except it abide in the vine, no more can ye except ye abide in me. I am the vine, ye are the branches. He that abideth in me and I in him, the same bringeth forth much fruit, for without me ye can do nothing. If a man abide not in me, he is cast forth as a branch and is withered, and men gather them and cast them into the fire, and they are burned. Now, this is clearly shows accountability on a part of the believer. And abide in me means to believe, to continue. The word abide has a definition of continuing, and the word believe has a connotation of continuing all the way. It's not a moment in time. It means always. Philippians 1 verses 3 through 6. This is in verse 6 is a very famous scripture that a lot of believers quote. He which hath begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. But if you take that in context, it's Paul. Starting in verse 3, he says, I thank my God upon every remembrance of you, always in every prayer of mine for you, all making requests with joy, for your fellowship in the gospel from the first day until now, being confident of this very thing, that he which hath begun a good work in you will perform it until the day of Jesus Christ. The context is saying that Paul is praying that believers would not fall away. And how many sons and daughters can testify of their mother, knowing that their mother and or father have prayed for them a lot and have kept them from falling away? So again, there's a accountability and also responsibility on the part of each of us to pray for each other. 1 Corinthians 15, moreover, brethren, I declare unto you the gospel which I preached unto you, which also ye have received, and wherein ye stand, by which also ye are saved, if you keep in memory what I preached unto you, unless ye have believed in vain. Now, this also shows a clear responsibility. The word if is a big word in the Bible, and some will say that the very end of verse 2, unless ye have believed in vain, they'll take that as meaning, oh, well, that person never really did believe in the first place. But it's not saying that. Because of the way translations into English are, it makes it sound like that could be the case. But you can replace that word unless with the word otherwise. Otherwise, so it would read, if you keep in memory what I preached unto you, otherwise you have believed in vain. So you just got to keep on believing, and if you turn away, then you have believed, but in vain in the end. Now, also in the Old Testament, there's scripture, and people will say, oh, you're preaching law, this is Old Testament. In Ezekiel 33:18, it reads, when the righteous turneth from his righteousness and committeth iniquity, he shall even die thereby. And so people will say that's law, that's works. You're trying to do it on your own. But you can preach the gospel out of the Old Testament, and there are always sister verses in the New Testament that corroborate a word like this. So, and that would be in James 5:19 and 20. Brethren, if any of you do err from the truth, and one convert him, let him know that he that converteth the sinner from the error of his way shall save a soul from death, and shall hide a multitude of sins. And this is speaking to believers. It starts off, brethren, if any of you do err from the truth, let him know that he that converteth the sinner. So somebody who is a believer is now considered a sinner, and he's saved from death. That's saving his soul from death. That's going to hell. So we can see there's an accountability from all the scriptures I mentioned that on the believer's part the Lord is the one who performs salvation, but we come into agreement with the terms of the covenant when we believe, and that puts a responsibility on us. I don't see once saved, always saved in the Bible.